Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking you through my PSN trophy collection. So the first PlayStation console that supported trophies was the PS3. As you can see, I've got a few of those. I've also got a PS4, PS5, and one PS Vita game that we're going to go through too, where I've got trophies. So yeah, as you can see, I've got 34 platinums, which I don't think is too bad, considering that I don't really normally aim for the platinum trophies anymore. But yeah, we're going to go through every platinum trophy that I've got, and every game where I want to get the platinum trophies. This was actually a video idea that came from a comment that I had on one of my older videos, and it's taken me a while to actually get around to making it, but I thought it was such a good idea that I would actually do it. So big shout out goes to Arioka, who left the comment recommending that I do this, and I hope you all enjoy it. So right at the bottom of my PlayStation trophy list, as you can see, we've got Call of Duty Black Ops. Now, I honestly don't even ever remember playing this. This must have been one of those situations where somebody brought it over to my house and we played it for like a couple of seconds. As you can see, I've only got 2%, 2 bronze trophies, so I clearly didn't play it for very long. If I even did play it at all, like I say, it might have just been my friend playing it. Because yeah, like I say, I don't remember ever playing this game on the PS3. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying how you can't delete trophies, to be honest, because if you could do that, this would be one that I would delete. There's actually quite a few examples of this sort of thing. So yeah, but then we move on to the first proper game, which is Sly 1. And as well as that, we've got Sly 2, Sly 3, and the Sly mini-games as well, which weirdly have trophies. No platinum for the mini-games though, but the 3 proper Sly games all have platinums. These are pretty straightforward, kind of all you need to do is really like 100% the games, there's nothing really more to it than that. These are pretty easy games as well, so it's a pretty easy set of platinums to get, to be honest. But being a big fan of Sly, I obviously needed to get the PS3 remasters, and of course I 100%ed them. So then we move on to a little bit of a harder one, Rayman Origins, which I 100%ed. I would say that this is a little bit more tricky than the Sly games, but at the end of the day, it is just another one where you kind of just need to 100% it. There's no, like, optional things to do that you need to do in order to unlock the trophies or anything. So yeah, reasonably easy one to get, but the game itself is a little bit more difficult than, say, the Sly series. But yeah, overall, a pretty good platinum to have. Then we move on to Battlefield 3. Now, I actually kind of dropped off of the Battlefield series at around this point, actually. I used to be quite into it back when it was only on PC. So I played Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Vietnam, Battlefield 2, and 2142 as well. They're all of the games that were kind of like exclusive to the PC. And I thought that the Battlefield series was really good when it was only on PC, but then when it moved over to consoles, it kind of lost a part of its identity, I thought. Like when they started giving it like a single player campaign, and it sort of just started to feel like Call of Duty as well, like it didn't really have its own sort of like feel anymore. Maybe that's changed with the more recent ones, I don't know, I've not played any since Battlefield 3. But then we move on to one that's a little bit more difficult than the other ones that we've talked about so far, because Metal Gear Solid 3, it's probably the easiest Metal Gear Solid platinum, but it's still reasonably difficult. There's some like things that you need to do that are a bit more unusual. Like you need to hunt every type of animal in the game and stuff, and there's some that are like rare and only appear in like one location in the game, and you need to do something really specific to get it to appear. You need to do stuff, I think, like beating all of the bosses without actually killing them as well. So yeah, this is actually a really good platinum. This is the sort of game that showcases how good it is to have trophies, because I like it when they ask you to do things that you wouldn't otherwise go for. It sort of like gives you more time with the game and like makes you discover things that you wouldn't otherwise know about. After that we move on to an interesting one with Uncharted 3, which is actually the only Uncharted game that I've ever played, which is probably bad because a lot of people say that this is one of the worst ones. Probably the only one that's potentially worse than Uncharted 3 is the first one, just because I've heard that that's not aged as well as the others. But yeah, as you can see there, I've got the Platinum Trophy on it because I 100%ed it back when it came out, but I've only got 51% of the trophies. And that's because loads of them, as you can see here, are the DLC ones. And that just goes to show how much DLC this game had. It added, well, 49% onto the overall percentage of trophies. So yeah, Uncharted 3 had a lot of DLC apparently. I think it was all multiplayer DLC. I don't think it ever got any single player DLC because otherwise I feel like I would have got that. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'm just out of the loop with Uncharted. Which I definitely am because I've not played any of the new ones. Then we move on to another example of a game which I'm pretty sure a friend just brought over to my house and just played it for a bit because I've only got 3% on it, and I don't remember ever playing this game on PS3. I have played Deus Ex Human Revolution, but it must have either been on Xbox 360 or potentially even the PC version that I played. Because, yeah, I definitely didn't play it on PS3, as you can tell, with the percentage being so low there. Then we move on to LA Noire, which I actually really liked LA Noire back when it first came out. I thought it was quite interesting with the whole, like, way that it's not really about, like, combat, it's just kind of like a murder mystery thing. Yeah, and I just thought it was interesting. Weird how it never got a sequel. The reason for that potentially being that the team that made it was disbanded after making the game, which is really bad because, like I say, I really liked LA Noire. But yeah, pretty sure I finished it, I just didn't do any of the DLC. As you can see there in the base game, I got 55%. I didn't ever go for 100% in LA Noire. But yeah, I did finish it. Really good game. Awesome Notes. Weird one, I got 57% in that, and you know, I hardly even remember what the game was like. It was that long ago. But yeah, apparently I liked it because I got quite a high percentage. Although, I did only get 8 trophies on it, so maybe I didn't play it that much. Maybe it's just really quick to unlock the trophies. These Naruto fighting games, me and my friends used to sometimes play these, so I think the trophies there probably just came from multiplayer stuff. Do you know what? Every single one of these ones, Dante's Inferno, Bioshock Infinite, Final Fantasy 13 and Dead Space 3, obviously I've got trophies for them, but I have never owned a single one of these games. Or at least, I've never played any of these games. I do actually own Dead Space 3 now, but I want to go through the first 2 games before I jump into 3. But yeah, these, again, must have just been friends playing them on my account for some reason. I don't know why they didn't play them on their own account. Again, if I could delete trophies, these are potentially 4 that I would delete. Flower. Weirdly, I've only got 9% on Flower and 9% on Flow, and only 33% on Journey, despite me having finished all of them. But they're not really the sort of games where I wanted to go for 100%. So yeah, that probably explains the low trophy percentage there. I probably just didn't get any of the collectibles or something. Wipeout HD, I've never played. So again, I don't know where those trophies came from. Kingdom Hearts, the 35A over 2 days. What a ridiculous name. I think it's just cutscenes. So that explains how I got all of the trophies on that. Like, view all entries in Roxas's diary, yeah. Just view all the chapters. It's basically just watch the cutscenes and you get 100% of the trophies. So yeah, if you want any nice and easy trophies, that's one for you. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, never went for 100% in it. It seems like it would be, it would take a long time to get the platinum on that, probably with it being like a kind of an RPG. Rayman Legends. Now, that's weird, because, again, I don't think I ever had this on PS3. I played Rayman Legends on PC, and in fact I've still got the PC version. So yeah, again, I don't know where those trophies came from. Beyond Two Souls, that's one I did play, finished it, but again, isn't really the sort of game where I feel like you need to go for 100%. Once you've experienced the story and got the ending that you got with your choices, I feel like it's not really the sort of game that you would play again, because once you've gone through it one time, you kind of know what to expect with it. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Now, when I said earlier, didn't I, that Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably the easiest one to get 100% on? The exception is probably Ground Zeroes, but it doesn't have a platinum, so yeah, I don't know if that really counts. But yeah, as you can see, this is the PS3 version, which is actually the first way that I played it. I didn't have a PS4 at the time, so I had to get Ground Zeroes on PS3. And then I pretty much got a PS4 to play the Phantom Pain, but we'll get there eventually. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, I actually liked that one. That's the one where there's like it's sort of like a card combat system, where you like have to make a card deck and each card like resembles a type of attack or like heal and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I finished it and I quite enjoyed it. I remember it being very long though, because like you finish the story, but then you sort of like start the story again playing as a different character, and you have to go through the entire game again but from another perspective. So yeah, a very long game, but I do remember enjoying it. Little Big Planet is one of those really annoying examples of a game that's probably, I'm pretty sure, impossible to platinum now, because I'm pretty sure one of its trophies are tied to like getting like reviews online, and I don't think that you can actually do that anymore, because I'm pretty sure that they turned the servers off for the first Little Big Planet. So yeah, I'm never going to be able to platinum this now. Yeah, there we go, look. A level you published was played by 5 or more people. I don't even think I can do that anymore, because I don't think that you can publish levels. And yeah, there we go, look, a level you published was played by 50 or more people, that sort of thing. I don't even think that's possible, which is a shame. I almost feel like with games that have their servers turned off like this, it should just give you all of the online trophies just by default, like just when you put the disc in, it should just give you them all. Because otherwise, you're never going to be able to get them, you know? But yeah, Little Big Planet 2 I didn't like as much as the first one, which explains why the percentage is a lot lower with that. Oh, and then we move on to potentially one of the most difficult platinums I have in my entire collection, with Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, on the surface, Metal Gear Solid 2 shouldn't be that difficult to get the platinum on, but there is a lot of optional stuff that you need to do. I remember one of the most annoying things was collecting all of the dog tags in the game, but if I remember right, by every dog tag, it means every dog tag across every difficulty. So what you need to do is you need to hold up every single enemy in the game to get them to drop their individual dog tags, which, as you can imagine, takes a very long time even doing on one difficulty. But then you need to do it across like 5 different difficulties, and all of the guards are placed in like different locations, and there's like more of them on certain difficulties and stuff. So yeah, pretty annoying. And then on top of that, you have to fully 100% complete the like extra like VR missions mode. And that actually gets pretty tough as it goes on, and it's extremely long too. Which is obviously really good if you're just like casually playing it, but if you're trying to get the Platinum Trophy, it takes quite a long time. So yeah, this is probably one of the most difficult Platinums that I've got. Kingdom Hearts 2, for some reason I never really went on to play that. I must have started it at some point, but as you can see I didn't get very far. I played the original version of Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2, but I never got around to playing the HD version, which is weird because I played the HD versions of the first game and Chain of Memories, as you saw earlier. But yeah, I dropped off at Kingdom Hearts 2 apparently. Hitman Blood Money is a game that I actually really like. I have really fond memories of this. And I have 100%ed the Xbox 360 version. I got all of the achievements on that. But clearly I picked it up on PS3, probably digitally, because I don't own it physically on PS3. And yeah, I must have just have started it, but not got very far. But yeah, I have 100%ed that in the past, I swear. It's a very good game. Although it might have dated by today's standards, I can imagine it feeling a little bit clunky by today's standards, especially with the newer Hitman games being out. Oddworld new and tasty, you know that I've 100%ed that. I'm a massive Oddworld fan, obviously a big fan of the original Oddworld games as well, and with new and tasty being a remake of Abe's Odyssey, you know I've 100%ed that. Come on, come on. Duke Nukem 3D didn't really play that very much on the PS3. To be honest, completely forgot that I even owned it on PS3. You know, I bet that's the same with a lot of people. I bet if you went onto your PS3s and went onto like all of the games that you own, you'd probably be surprised by what's there, because I guarantee that if I did that, I would own a lot of games that I had just completely forgotten about. But yeah, Duke Nukem 3D, I apparently have that, and I didn't even know that I had it. Then we move on to what I was talking about earlier. So I got the PS4 to play the Phantom Pain, but I got the PS4 just before the Phantom Pain came out, because I wanted to replay Ground Zeroes, but this time play the PS4 version, which is just better graphically and runs at a higher frame rate and stuff. So I did that, and I 100%ed it again. So I've got 100% on both the PS3 version and the PS4 version, which is nice. Sports Friends... I'm pretty sure that was just a game that I got on like PlayStation Plus like ages ago, and you know, actually, to be honest, I don't even think that I own this. I think that I played this on somebody else's console but signed in on my profile, which is why the trophies are there. So yeah, I don't even think that I have this. So yeah, that explains why I've only got one trophy on it. Again, this is one that I would delete if you could actually do that. I don't know why you can't do that, but there we go. Race the Sun. That was one of the first PlayStation Plus games that I got. And, you know, for what it is, I remember it being quite good, actually, which is probably why I've got 42% on it. It's just kind of like an endless runner, like, game. It kind of feels like a mobile game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a mobile game and just got ported to PlayStation stuff. But yeah, for what it is, it's a nice, like, fun little arcadey style game, I guess. Grand Theft Auto 5, the PS4 version. I don't know why I've only got 12% on this. Oh, I've not, I've got 18%, but that's still quite a low percentage considering that I've finished the story. You would have thought that I would have got a higher percent than that. But yeah, really enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 5. I think it's probably the best Grand Theft Auto that's ever been made. Hopefully 6 will surpass it, but we'll see about that. Ollie Ollie 2. Nice little 2D skateboarding game. I remember really enjoying it. I've actually got it on the Switch now as well. Yeah, and it's another like arcade style one where it's kind of just about getting like the highest scores that you possibly can. It's not like Tony Hawk though, where it's where like it's 3D and you can kind of like just go and do what you want. With it being 2D, it's a lot more linear, almost feels more like a 2D platformer than a skateboarding game. But it's still fun regardless. Super Exploding Zoo, I don't even know. I don't know what that is. That's probably a game that I got on PlayStation Plus and like played one time and then just completely forgot about. The Unfinished Swan. I remember quite enjoying that, but I must have not got very far because I've only got one trophy on it. Sound Shapes, actually really good. Really, really good. A bit of a hidden gem, that is. So it's like a 2D platformer where the gimmick is everything in the level is like timed to like music and different beats and sound effects happening. And you can even make your own levels as well, and put your own like music on it and stuff, and make the levels like interact with the sound effects and stuff in different ways. Really cool idea, and again, a bit of a hidden gem. I recommend that you check that one out. Then we move on to Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, this is probably the hardest platinum trophy that I've had to get in my entire collection, and the reason for this is because not only do you need to just finish the game, but you need to do really, really oddly specific things throughout your playthrough in order to earn these like different like rankings at the end of the game. So like one of the things is you need to be prone for like 2 hours of game time or something like that. One of the things is you need to play through the whole game without getting detected by any guards. And there's like loads of little things like that. I think there's one where you need to hide inside of a box for like an hour or something. And it's just like, there's loads of these things. I'm talking like maybe even almost 50 off the top of my head. Might be slightly less than that, I don't know. But yeah, some of them are really, really tough. There might even be one for finishing the game like without shooting or something. But there's loads of things like that, and it just takes forever. I think, if I remember right, I remember saying at the time that I got this that I needed to finish the game 9 times. And I pretty much did that back to back. So yeah, it took quite a while, and I got pretty efficient at finishing this game. It makes you realise just how short it is when you start basically speedrunning it like that. So yeah, pretty crazy to get the platinum on this, to be honest. Slender the Arrival, not really much to say about that. Kind of like middle of the road horror game, if not like just, you might even say that it's a bad horror game, to be honest, kind of like a 4 out of 10 maybe, and that might even be kind of being a bit like generous, to be honest. Super Meat Boy, only got 32% on that, despite the fact that I've actually 100%ed it in terms of the in-game statistics. So the thing that you need to do to platinum this, I mean, this is probably one of the single hardest platinum trophies that exists, because what you need to do is finish, as you can see here, every single world of the game without dying. Which, as you can imagine, if you know Super Meat Boy, this game gets insanely tough later on. I've done it, but I've never done it without dying, because that's just next level. Like, you would have to be insanely good at the game to be able to do this without dying. But yeah, I have 100%ed it, as you can see here. Actually, there's a trophy for 100% in the game, I just don't have 100% of the trophies. But yeah, Soma, you get 100% on that just by finishing the story. But if you haven't played Soma and you're a fan of horror games, definitely check it out. It's probably one of the best horror games that I've ever played. Really, really good. Just go into it. Probably go into it without looking up too much about it, because it's probably better if you just don't know anything about it going into it, and probably keeps it more surprising that way. It was actually a like mission of mine at one point to try and 100% complete all of the Metal Gear Solid games. So as we've seen, I did actually achieve that with Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4, and also 2 as well. Actually, I did that, didn't I? But Peace Walker was one of the ones that I'd never got around to actually 100% in. I finished it, but I think there's just quite a few just like weird little things that you need to do. Yeah, like you need to S rank like every single mission in the game, and there are a lot of missions in Peace Walker. So yeah, to do that would just take a very, very long time. But I have done a lot of it, like, apart from that, like, obtained every costume. I mean, you probably just get that by S ranking everything. So yeah, with this, I think it's just a matter of me going through it and just trying to do every mission with an S rank. As you can see there, I did do all of the main missions at an S rank, but it's just all of the extra ones I didn't do. So yeah, maybe one day, you never know, maybe one day I'll feel like going back to Peace Walker to get 100%, but we'll see. You never know. Next up we have Grow Home, which again is a little bit of a hidden gem. Really liked it. It's a 3D platformer that's kind of like physics based. And the objective, if I remember right, is to grow this massive plant in order to grow your way back to your spaceship that you fell out of. You play as a little robot called Bud, if I remember right, and he looks really, really cool. Really liked those games. There was a sequel that's probably on this list called Grow Up, which I didn't play as much as Grow Home, but I do remember that being good as well. So yeah, check those out if you're a fan of like platformers that are like cartoony and just like quirky. Really good. Unmechanical Extended. Pretty sure that my girlfriend actually 100% completed this. I must have just played it for like a little while when she got it, which is why I've got one trophy. But yeah, pretty sure, if I remember right, that this is like a Metroidvania style game where you play as a little robot who flies around. But yeah, don't really know that much about this one. Mega Man Legacy. Played it a little bit. I probably primarily played the first game. Yeah, I finished the first game. The first Mega Man, weirdly, is actually my favourite. A lot of people say that Mega Man 2 is their favourite, but I really like the first one. So yeah, pretty much got the Legacy Collection just to replay Mega Man 1, which I enjoyed. Then we come to a painful one. Literally, because it's the Phantom Pain. So as you can see, I've got 96% on this, and I need literally one trophy to get the Platinum. And this is such an annoying game to get the Platinum on as well, because it just, again, like Peace Walker actually, it just takes forever because of the amount of missions. I'm pretty sure that... Is there only one trophy I need? I'm pretty sure there is. I think it's that, complete all mission tasks. So you get given, in every single mission, you get given like 5 or so like optional objectives. But some of them are just for doing the most, like, stupid random things that you would just never think to do if you were just playing the game normally. And also, some missions have objectives where you can't do all of them in, like, one playthrough. So you would have to play the mission, like, multiple times in order to do these optional objectives. So yeah, it's just a time sink. I've completed all the missions with an S rank, I've done that. It's just I need to go through all of the missions again at some point and do all of these optional things. Probably while just like looking up a video of how to do them all. Which I know is a bit like cheap, you should figure it out for yourself. But when there's this many, I'm not opposed to looking up a YouTube guide. So yeah, that's Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain that I need to do, and Peace Walker that I need to do, and then I think that that's all of the Metal Gear Solid games platinumed, apart from like the sort of spin-off ones like Revengeance, which I've actually never played, and also Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear Survive, which I've never played, and I'm probably never going to either, because it just doesn't look very good. And it was made just after they got rid of Hideo Kojima, so I think I'm just not getting that one out of principle more than anything. Life is Strange. That would actually be a really easy one to platinum, but I just missed some of the, like, little collectibles. Like, I think you need to take pictures of, like, certain things in order to get trophies. And I just missed a couple of those things that you need to take pictures of. But like with Beyond Two Souls that I talked about earlier, this is the sort of game where really I feel like you can only properly experience it one time on your first ever playthrough, because once you know like sort of what happens, it's kind of ruined. So if you were to play it again knowing what the ending is, it just wouldn't have the same impact. So yeah, I've only played Life is Strange the one time, but I really liked it. Probably my favourite of these like narrative style games. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're a fan of those and haven't played it already for some reason. Diablo 3, it's so weird that I've played this, and so weird that I've actually completed it as well. Not 100% as you can see, but I've finished the story. This is not my sort of game at all, but I played this in co-op with a friend, and I think we literally finished the entire thing in like a couple of days, because we basically just played it like from when we woke up to when we went to sleep. But yeah, weirdly actually quite enjoyable if you're playing it in co-op. I don't think I would have liked it if I was playing it single player though. Just because I feel like it would have been a little bit too grindy like that, but when you're playing it with somebody, it's kind of easier to overlook that kind of thing. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove as it's called now, because it's all of the DLC is out for it. I have finished Shovel Knight in terms of like just the base version, but I've never played any of the DLC. I've heard that the DLC is supposed to be really good as well, so at some point I should probably get around to actually playing that. Especially because I'm pretty sure that with Shovel Knight the DLC is all free as well. I'm pretty sure you just need to like just put your original disc in or whatever and you automatically get all of the DLC, which is really cool because they were working on that DLC for a long time. Then we come to what is potentially my favourite game of all time, which is Bloodborne. Apparently the first of the Souls games that I platinumed, which is interesting, because I thought that I had platinumed Dark Souls before this, but apparently not. So yeah, Bloodborne. Just amazing. I mean, what is there to say? Like, I do plan on doing a review of Bloodborne at some point in the future, maybe not anytime soon, but eventually I definitely want to talk about this game in detail, because it's almost perfect, in my opinion anyway, just like the atmosphere, the combat, the lore. I just love it. I just love everything about it. All of the variety in weapons and everything, it's just incredible. The level design, I could just go on and on. But yeah, I've 100%ed it. Out of any of the Souls games, I would 100% say that Bloodborne is the easiest one to get the platinum on. If you know what you're doing, you actually only need to do one playthrough of this to get the platinum. You do need to like cheat a little bit with the like cloud saving or like backing up a save onto a memory stick so that you can go back in time to get all of the endings. But if you do that, you can actually fully complete this in one playthrough, which isn't really the case with a lot of the other Souls games, or at least it's not done as easily as it is with Bloodborne. But yeah, incredible game. Resident Evil 0 is on here, and you know what, despite me being a big fan of the Resident Evil series, I've hardly ever touched Resident Evil 0. Didn't even get past like the very beginning area where you're on the train. So yeah, maybe I should go back to that at some point, because it's, I definitely want to at least finish the story of it, even if I don't 100% it. Because yeah, it's probably one of the only mainline games that I've not really touched. The other one being Resident Evil 6, which weirdly I've never played, but I do plan on playing that very soon actually. I'm probably going to get the PS4 version of that. Rogue Legacy I've got 100% on. A lot of people would probably say that this was quite a difficult platinum, but I didn't actually find it that hard. So this is basically like a roguelike, sort of like Metroidvania style game where the map randomizes every time you die. So yeah, it's pretty good. The main gimmick of this is that every time you die, the character that you're playing as actually dies, and then when you continue, you're playing as one of that character's kids. And like each of the different people that you play as along the timeline all have like different like elements of them that give them some sort of disadvantage or advantage. Sometimes it's just stuff like they're colorblind, so the game will be in like black and white, but other times it'll more like heavily affect gameplay. Like, I'm pretty sure that there's like just sometimes where like you are really like short and you don't deal as much damage and stuff, but it's potentially easier to avoid enemy attacks. Yeah, so stuff like that. It's actually really good. There is a sequel as well that I've never played, so I should probably pick that up. Limbo, recently did a video on Limbo, and I think it's just an incredible game. Of course I've 100%ed it. Pretty easy game to 100% because all you really need to do is get all of the secret collectibles. And if you don't want to look for them yourself, obviously you can just look up a guide online. I think I know where they all are, just off the top of my head now, so whenever I play it, I tend to try and 100% it, just for the sake of it now. But yeah, pretty easy one to 100%, especially because the game's quite short. Rocket League, I am surprised I've got 10% of the trophies on this, because I've barely even ever played this. To be honest, this is another one of those where I think I must have played this at a friend's house, because I'm pretty sure that I didn't own this. Obviously now it's free to play, but I would have played this back when it wasn't free to play, and I'm pretty sure that I don't own it, either digitally or physically, if it even does have a physical. I don't recall ever seeing one, so I think it's digital only. Speaking of digital only, we move on to Spelunky, which actually isn't digital only, because they did a limited run release of this, which I actually have in my collection, which I'm really happy about, because I really like this game. It's again a roguelike 2D platformer, but unlike Rogue Legacy, which is sort of like a Metroidvania style, Spelunky is a lot more linear. It's just like a level by level thing, as opposed to having this like big open map. But yeah, really good. I have finished it. I've finished it, but not 100%ed it. That's just because you need to like complete 100% of the journal, which means you need to like interact with every enemy, like get every item, and just stuff like that. Basically 100% the game. And yeah, I haven't done that because it's quite a difficult game. But yeah, maybe one day, you never know. Inside, which is sort of like the spiritual successor to Limbo, made by Playdead. Incredible game again. One of the best games that I've ever played, actually. And again, I've done a video on it recently, so if you want to know more, check that out. Yeah, just incredible game, of course, 100%ed it. Like Limbo, all you need to do to get 100% is get all of the optional collectibles. But in Inside, this is actually easier. The collectibles are kind of obvious in Inside, and the reason for that is because it kind of expects you to get them all, because there may or may not be some kind of secret ending connected to it. But I'm not going to ruin that here. Unravel, I hardly played this, which is weird because this seems like the sort of thing that I would have really liked. But yeah, just hardly touched it for some reason. This is probably one that I should play, right? Let me know if you've played Unravel. Was it any good? Should I play it? Yeah, I feel like I should. I remember it being alright from what I played. Like I said, Grow Up here is the sequel to the Grow Home. And Grow Up I thought I had played like a little bit of, but apparently I must have hardly played anything because I've got 0% of the trophies. So that's definitely one that I should play more of because I really liked Grow Home. So yeah, maybe they're ones that I should like revisit because I remember them being good. Fallout 4, now this is a weird one because as you can see here I've got the Platinum Trophy on it. The reason it's 83% is because I don't think I finished like the last set of like DLC stuff, as you can see here. So despite me having the Platinum on Fallout 4, I actually don't really like it. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas I really liked. But Fallout 4 just lost some of the, like, it just lost something. I don't know what it was. Like, I didn't really like the whole way that the settlement mechanic was kind of forced on you in Fallout 4. I didn't like how it was a lot more shootery. Like, the shooting mechanics were way better than in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. But because they got rid of that clunkiness, it's almost like they depended more on the shooting. And I just didn't like that. I wanted it to be more like about talking to characters and maybe like going about the combat situations in different ways. Maybe having more of an emphasis on stealth would have been good as well. But yeah, overall, just didn't really like Fallout 4 very much, despite me having platinumed it. Ico is a very good game. I've not 100%ed it, but I've finished it. Really good. If you're a fan of like Shadow of the Colossus or The Last Guardian and you haven't gone back to Ico, which started that series, if you can really call it a series, definitely give it a go because it's aged really well and you can really see the influence that it had on Dark Souls as well. Not in terms of combat or anything, but just in terms of the way that the level design works. It feels very reminiscent of Dark Souls in that way. Outlast, of course, is a horror game. It's alright. I mean, it's probably like, what, like a 5 or 6 out of 10. It's just, like, I feel like it goes a little bit off the rails towards the end, because at the beginning it's just about this, like, asylum, and it's kind of more grounded in reality, and because of that it's kind of a little bit scarier. But then as it goes on, it sort of turns into more of this, like, sci-fi sort of thing, and I just didn't really like that element of it. I kind of feel like it lost its way a little bit as it got, like, halfway through. But it's alright for what it is. It's kind of one of those games where you just, like, run away from the enemies and hide for a bit in a locker, and then they go away, and then you sneak past them over and over again. Could have done with a little bit more variety in that regard, I guess, but, yeah, for what it is, pretty good. And I did finish it. Then we move on to Dark Souls. This is the PS3, like, original version of the game, before they did Dark Souls Remastered on PS4. And yeah, I platinumed this. Really loved Dark Souls 1. Probably, again, one of my favourite games ever made, especially remastered, which just looks and runs a lot better. But I platinumed this before the remaster came out. And actually, I haven't platinumed the remaster. So I've got the platinum on the original, but not on the PS4 version. So I should probably do that at some point. Then we've got Until Dawn, another one of those narrative games, along with Heavy Rain as well, which is another one of those style of games. Again, with these, I never really feel like I have to go for 100% because, number one, I'm not, like, that into them. Although Until Dawn is actually really good, actually. With Life is Strange, they're probably the two best of that type of game that I've ever played. But yeah, I still don't feel the need to 100% them because, like I keep saying, once you've played through them, you kind of know what they're about, so replaying them is never as good. And then we've got Ape Escape 2, which I've 100%ed. I'm pretty sure that I 100%ed this back when I did my review of it years ago now. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that the only thing that's annoying about 100% in this is that once you finish it for the first time, and 100% it, you unlock a sort of New Game Plus, and then in order to get the last trophy, you need to finish it again on New Game Plus. And it's quite a long game, deceptively long actually, so finishing it a second time takes quite a while, so that's the one annoying trophy with that. Dark Souls 2, this is the Scholar of the First Sin edition. I never played the PS3 version of Dark Souls 2, weirdly. Oh, actually no, I tell a lie, I have played the PS3 version of Dark Souls 2, but I played it after the Scholar of the First Sin edition on PS4. We'll see my trophies for the original version of Dark Souls 2 in a minute. But yeah, I platinumed the PS4 version. I mean, all of the Dark Souls games are reasonably difficult to 100%, and the main reason for that is that all of them have these situations where you need to get like 30 of a certain type of collectible. And there's two ways to go about getting these collectibles. You can either do the online way, where, like, for example, in Dark Souls 1 you get the Sunlight medals for doing co-op with other people and successfully defeating bosses. But you can also grind for those items by killing a particular type of enemy over and over again, but the drop rate for that particular item is always really, really low. So at the end of the game, because you're so high leveled, there's never really anybody that's the same level as you to do co-op with, so it forces you to grind these enemies again and again and again for potentially hours to get these particular items. So yeah, getting the platinums in Dark Souls is very, very time consuming if you go about doing it in the way that I did. So yeah, don't know if I would really recommend going for the platinum unless you're really into the series and just feel like you have to 100% them for some reason like I do. Horizon Zero Dawn, I didn't like it. I played it for a bit. I don't even know if I got past what could be considered the tutorial section, really. But yeah, just way too much dialogue at the start of the game, and I just wasn't really feeling all that invested in what was going on in the universe, and the whole story didn't really grab me, and I don't know, I just didn't really think that the gameplay was all that interesting really either. From what I remember, it was just a matter of hiding in grass and shooting these robots with your bow, and then I don't know, just found it quite kind of basic. But yeah, like I say, I didn't get very far in it, so maybe if I gave it more of a chance it would become more mechanically complex as it went on. But yeah, I don't know, it didn't grab me to begin with. Killing Floor 2 is a pretty good, sort of co-op, wave defense first-person shooter. I preferred Killing Floor 1, which is only on PC. Just had a lot more charm to it. Even though the graphics are better in Killing Floor 2, I just feel like visually it had more of an identity with Killing Floor 1, and the voice acting was more quirky in the first one and stuff. Also, the maps in the first Killing Floor were way better than the maps in Killing Floor 2. So yeah, even though Killing Floor 2 is good, if you have the means to do so, I would recommend checking out Killing Floor 1. Hopefully there are still people playing it online though, it would be a shame if nobody played it anymore. Because yeah, it was really good, really, really good. I think this is the bit where there's multiple platinums all in a row, because I was apparently playing the Crash Bandicoot and Ratchet and Clank series at the same time, and as you know, I'm a big fan of Crash and Ratchet and Clank, so obviously I have to go and platinum them all. So yeah, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. I mean, a lot of people say that the Crash Bandicoot games are really hard just to, do anyway, just to, get through the levels normally. But if you know what you're doing and you've played them as a kid, I would say that these are really easy platinums. But again, that's only if you're familiar with the games from back in the day. If you were playing them for the first time, it would probably be considered quite hard, but for me it was quite an easy one. Same with Ratchet and Clank, really. Like, they're quite long games, and there is some trophies that ask you to do some, like, optional stuff, which makes it a little bit more complicated to platinum. But fairly easy games to platinum, to be honest. I think all of these platformers are kind of easy to platinum, right? Just because, like, fundamentally, really, all you need to do is just 100% them, and then you've got the platinum trophy. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot 1, platinumed, Ratchet and Clank 2, platinumed. The reason that I platinumed the reason that Crash Bandicoot 1 is ahead of Crash Bandicoot 2 is because of the DLC that came out for Crash Bandicoot 1. So they released the level that was cut from the original game for being too difficult, and in the Insane Trilogy you can actually access that level, and it is pretty difficult, I've got to be honest. And there's a trophy here for getting the gold relic on that level, which means not only do you need to do that level fast, but you also need to do it without dying as well. It took quite a while to do that, I'm not gonna lie. It took maybe a good couple of hours to do that. And I never did get the platinum relic on it. Maybe that's something that I'll have to try and do in the future. But for now, I'm happy with gold. But yeah, luckily with this, you don't need to do that really difficult level to actually get the platinum, because it's considered its own separate thing there called Lost Treasures. So yeah, getting the actual platinum trophy isn't that hard, really. Like I say, Ratchet and Clank 2, I've platinumed that. Really, really like the Ratchet and Clank trilogy on PS2. And the PS3 remasters are pretty good as well. The Saw game, you know what? I have got 10 trophies on the Saw game, and I swear that I didn't even get past the first level. So that must be one of those games where it just gives you just loads of trophies to begin with. Which is always weird, I don't know why they do that, but yeah. Didn't like the Saw game very much, despite being a pretty big fan of the films. Even the ones that are bad, I kinda like, just because, I don't know, I'm a sucker, I guess. Human Fall Flat, I played this quite a while ago, I think before any of the DLC came out, and I really, really enjoyed it. I've actually got this again on Switch, but I don't actually think I've played the Switch version, weirdly. So yeah, if I ever replayed Human Fall Flat, I'd probably play the Switch version and go through it in co-op. So yeah, I'm probably never going to get the platinum on this. Destroy All Humans. I don't actually own this on PS4. I do have it on PS2. But my girlfriend got this on PS4, and I just played a little bit of it just to see what the remaster was like. To clarify, actually, this isn't the remake of Destroy All Humans. This is the PS2 Classics version of Destroy All Humans, which I think you can actually still get on the PS4 store despite the remake being out. So that's actually pretty good of them if that is the case, that they left that up, because when the remasters of Grand Theft Auto came out, they got rid of the PS2 versions, which I don't think is very good. They should have kept the PS2 versions up there. They're pretty much completely different games, really. Then we've got Dark Souls 2. This is the original PS3 version. As we saw earlier, I have platinumed the Scholar of the First Sin edition, and I got a fair amount through the original PS3 version as well. What's interesting with Dark Souls 2 is that the PS3 and the Scholar of the First Sin editions are actually quite different. They changed a lot of the enemy placements in Scholar of the First Sin, so it's actually quite a different experience going through the original version of Dark Souls 2 as opposed to the PS4 version. So yeah, it was quite interesting playing through the PS3 version of that. Then we've got Demon's Souls, the original PS3 version, and I actually have this on my trophy list twice, and the reason for that is because I got the disced version. And the whole reason that I got Demon's Souls on the PS3 in the first place was because it was just before they turned the servers off, and I wanted to go through it in co-op with a friend before they did that. So yeah, I got the disc for it, but then it turned out that I had an American disc or something like that, and my friend got it digitally on the store, so it was the European version, and it turns out that the online doesn't work between American and European versions. So yeah, I had to get Demon's Souls again, digitally. So I own the American and European versions of Demon's Souls. I don't think there's any differences beyond the fact that they weren't compatible with their onlines. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong with that. There might be some slight like spelling differences in terms of like the subtitles and like item descriptions or something. But I don't think there's any significant differences. So yeah, then we have Undertale. Undertale I don't have very many trophies on. And the reason for that is because it was my second playthrough. I played it for the first time on PC. And again, it's one of those games where I don't feel like it's as good when you play it a second time. And Undertale isn't like it's not like one of those narrative games like Life is Strange or anything. But I just feel like it is a game that has elements of that, because it's a game where you like make choices about who you want to kill and who you want to like spare and stuff. So like, once you've gone through it one time and made the choices that you made initially, it just doesn't have the same impact when you do it again, because you kind of know what the outcome's going to be. But yeah, really, really liked Undertale. I need to leave it like a good few years before I play it again, I think. Another World, again I owned this on PC as well. I just got it on PS4 just because it was on sale or something, I think. So it's an early example of a cinematic platformer, kind of like the Oddworld games. I don't think I actually finished the PS4 version, but I have finished it before on PC. But yeah, like I say, just got it on PS4 because why not, really? It was probably really, really cheap. Monster Hunter World is a really, really good game. To be honest, unlike a lot of the games that we've talked about, this is one that I would actually like to replay at some point, because I don't actually remember all that much about it. And I've played Monster Hunter Rise relatively recently. But I kind of wonder if Monster Hunter Rise was actually a little bit of a step down from what World was. Because I just remember World having the whole like thing where you need to actually track the monsters. And like, you still needed to like throw paint bombs at them to actually like track them as they run around the map and stuff. And I kind of missed that from Rise. I feel like Monster Hunter Rise, although it was really streamlined, I feel like it kind of lost a little bit of its identity because of that. So yeah, I'd like to go back to World at some point. Maybe I should do that soon. Next we move on to another one of the Souls games with Dark Souls 3, which I have platinumed. Again, the only real difficult thing with this is that whole thing that I was talking about where you need to grind for certain items. But I remember that being actually a little bit easier in Dark Souls 3 than what it was in the first game and the second game. So I would probably say maybe this was the second easiest platinum to get out of all of the Souls games. But yeah, it's still reasonably in line with Dark Souls 1 and 2. It's not like Bloodborne, where it's clearly a lot easier or anything. Octodad, Deadliest, or Dadliest Catch even. Pretty funny game. It's like one of those, like, I wouldn't call it a platformer, but it's like a physics... I mean, how would you describe what Octodad is? Like, I guess if you had to give it a label, you would have to call it a platformer, but it's not really a platformer at all. I don't even remember if you can jump. But yeah, it's just like a comedy game, I guess, where you play as an octopus who's trying to pretend he's a human, but because you've got like loads of legs and you're really like floppy, it's obviously difficult to do that, and you're always knocking into things and like almost ruining your disguise and stuff. Really good game, really good game. Recommend that you play it if you haven't already. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Now this is a game that I'm actually quite proud that I've platinumed, because not only does it take ages, because you need to get to like rank 50 or whatever, and you level up so slowly in this game, but also I actually think that this is impossible to platinum now, because the online doesn't... Well, I think it's that the online is partially not working. When I last played it, when I reviewed it, I could actually get into matches with people, but I think the Creator Park element of it didn't work online anymore, and I think that one of the trophies is tied to the Creator Park mode. and maybe just like publishing a map and like having somebody play it or something. But yeah, you can't do that anymore, which means that that trophy is completely inaccessible. So I'm glad that I got that when I did, because yeah, it's a Pro Skater game, and even though it's a bad one, I want to 100% all of the Pro Skater games that I can. The Last Guardian is actually really, really good. It starts off quite slow, and at the beginning I wasn't sure if I actually liked it or not, but the more that you play it, the more you sort of get into it, and by the end I was fully invested. So good. And although it is kind of like a narrative-heavy game again, I guess, in a way, not like in the way that you make choices and affect the story or anything like that, but just in the way that like it's like very cinematic, I guess. Despite that, I do feel like this is one that you can replay. There's a lot of like optional collectibles to find and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this one has a little bit of replayability in it, so I'll no doubt end up going back to this at some point in the future. Doom 2016. I've got the platinum on this, and I was trying to 100% it as well, and I'm pretty sure that, yeah, the only things that I need to do are tied to the online mode. And you know what, I actually really liked the online for Doom 2016, and that is very unlike me, because I normally am not into like online shooters at all anymore. But yeah, Doom, it kind of just took me back to like playing like Halo and stuff, like it kind of felt similar to that. It's before you had any of these like stupid like season passes and stuff like that, which that sort of thing just completely puts me off of online games nowadays. But yeah, Doom 2016 was literally just before that started to properly take off as a trend. So this is probably going to be one of the last online first-person shooters that I ever actually like. But yeah, basically I think the trophies here that I've not got, like here, you need to play a multiplayer match with a piece of robotic armor. Now, I think the reason that I haven't done this is because you need to be a really, really high level to unlock that armor, which is really annoying because I've got almost every single other trophy. Literally just need these 2 trophies and I would have 100%. Which is annoying, but at least I've got the platinum in the base game, I guess. Just would be nice if I looked at that and it said 100%. And of course, this is an example of one of those games which probably doesn't have that much of an active player base online anymore, and eventually it's just going to be like shut down and then it'll be impossible to get them. So yeah, another example of that annoying situation. Shadow of the Colossus, this is the PS3 remaster, so it's the PS2 version. Really good, really enjoyed it. More than I thought I would, actually. And yeah, I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, most people have probably already played it. But if you haven't, it's quite arty, I guess. It's almost a puzzle game in the disguise of an action-adventure game. Because the premise is that you go around this big open world, but there's nothing in it aside from these like 16 or so massive bosses. So the objective is to kill all 16 of these big like beasts, or colossi as they're actually called. And yeah, you take them down basically by solving a puzzle to do with it. So there's one way you need... In fact, no, I'm not going to ruin any of them. Not going to ruin any of them. Go into it and figure it out for yourself, alright? Then we move on to Demon's Souls. Again, this is the PS3 version. Like I said earlier, the reason that there's 2 of these is because there's the American version and the European version. So this one is probably the European version, and this is the one that I actually finished. Never did 100% the original version of Demon's Souls, but I actually think that this is quite easy to platinum, if I remember right, because there's an exploit that you can do where you can duplicate items really easily. So you can just duplicate all of your like crafting materials in order to like make all of the like weapons that you need to make to get trophies. Which is something that you can't do in any of the Dark Souls games, which is unfortunate because if you could do that, like I said, all of those items you need to get by grinding, you could just use an exploit to get them instead. But yeah, luckily, or rather unluckily, they fixed that exploit in Dark Souls, so you can't do that anymore. This is one where I do plan on maybe eventually going back to it to get 100%, but now that the remake's out, there's not as much of an incentive to go back to it anymore. 140, I've reviewed this and it's really good, but I would say if you're gonna get this game, get the Switch version, unless you don't have a Switch and you only have PS4, then get the PS4 version because it's really good. But the reason that I recommend the Switch version is because there's actually an additional level in the Switch version, which was originally exclusive to the PC version. But I don't think that additional level was ever put into the PlayStation or Xbox versions. So yeah, you're basically getting like a quarter less game if you get the PlayStation version. So yeah, only get the PS4 version if you have to. Oh yeah, and in terms of the trophies for this, it's actually pretty difficult. I think I've done most of them. But basically, what you need to do here... Actually, I've done a lot more of the trophies than I thought I had here. I thought I hadn't done the third boss without dying. But yeah, basically, what you need to do is play through the entire game again, but it's reversed. And I'm pretty sure that this last trophy here, it's only to die 63 times. You know what? I could easily get all of the trophies on this. Because... Oh, no. No. I think... the mirror stages, completing the mirror stages, if you die a single time on the mirror stage, it resets you to the beginning of the level, so there's no checkpoints, and that's why it's so hard. Yeah, I think that's why I've not 100%ed it, actually. But, I don't remember doing this. Apparently I have done the entire game without dying a single time, because I beat all 3 of the bosses without dying, and I didn't think that I had done that. So I'm still impressed with myself. Moving on, we've got Fallout 3. Oh god, this is the first example. Oh, actually, I guess it's not, because the Phantom Pain is kind of similar to this. This is a game that one day, I swear, I am going to platinum this, right? Because I've got 97%, as you can see, which, by the way, it takes a very, very long time. You have to do, like, every single mission in the game, including the side missions, and you need to like reach like the top level in the game, both with good karma, bad karma, and neutral karma. And there's like all sorts of other things you need to do as well, like the DLC as well, which takes ages. But yeah, I think the only thing that I need to do in this game, it's not even difficult, literally not even difficult at all. I basically need to just do one more playthrough of the game and reach the top rank as neutral karma, I think. Yeah, there we go, look. Reached level 14 with neutral karma. That's so easy to do. It's just that it takes quite a while, because obviously you need to actually play through the game again, and I haven't really been feeling like playing Fallout 3 recently. Yeah, reach level 20 with neutral karma, and that's it. That's all I need to do. I've done all of the difficult stuff. So yeah, at some point, I definitely need to go back and get the platinum on this. Then we've got Super Hot VR. Again, this is really good, by the way. Super Hot VR, probably the single best VR game that I've ever played. Just amazing. Just makes you feel like you're in some kind of like action film. Like everything, the gimmick is that everything is moving in slow motion, or practically not even moving at all, unless you move. So when you move, time will start moving forward. But what this does is it means that you can like properly like look around without time moving, and you can like come up with like this really like intense like chain of moves. Like you can like pick something up, throw it at somebody, pick up a gun, shoot another person, and you can like just pull that off really smoothly. And because time only moves when you do, I don't know, it just has this really like nice feel to it that's difficult to actually explain unless you've played the game for yourself. But yeah, really highly recommended if you've got a VR headset. I think Super Hot VR is on like everything VR related as well, it's not just on PSVR. So yeah, definitely check that out. Resident Evil 7 is really good actually, quite short. I've actually replayed this recently because the PS5 upgrade came out, which annoyingly is a separate like trophy thing, so I've now got 2 entries for Resident Evil 7 instead of just the 1. But yeah, I've replayed this recently and it holds up really, really good. Like I say, quite short, but it's actually reasonably replayable as well. Like, you unlock a new difficulty once you've finished it a first time. There's like optional collectibles to get, which unlock like weapons and health upgrades and stuff. Yeah, pretty good. And the trophies are good as well, because actually, at the bottom here, you'll see that there's some trophies for doing like kind of like weird stuff, like completing the game within 4 hours, which again is awesome, because if this game was on like the Switch, for example, which doesn't have trophies, that wouldn't be an objective. So like, that's what I mean when I say I think that trophies are sometimes really good, because they can sometimes give you things to do in the game that wouldn't otherwise be there, and I really like that. That's where, like a lot of games, like, I don't know, like the Sly series, there's nothing to do outside of just 100% in the game, but this is an example of a good set of trophies because it gives you something to do outside of the norm. I really like that. But yeah, as well, you've got to complete the game without opening the item box more than 3 times. Again, you would never think to do that normally. And complete the game using only 3 first aid meds or less. Again, pretty cool objective. Crash Bandicoot Warped, that's way higher than the other Crash Bandicoot games, because there was another additional DLC released for that way after the game came out, which is Future Tense, which is actually a brand new level, which was the first time that had happened, until, I guess, the DLC tracks for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled happened. So yeah, that was really exciting, even though it was only 1 level. But I remember it being a pretty good level. It wasn't too difficult or anything like the DLC for Crash 1 was. So yeah, pretty easy to 100%. Out of all of the Crash games, I'd probably say that Warped was the easiest to get the Platinum on, just because it is the easiest overall. In fact, if you're new to Crash Bandicoot, I would highly recommend that you start with Crash Bandicoot 3, Warped, because I just think that it's the best jumping on point. It's way easier than Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2, and I feel like it's probably, in my opinion, the best. I just think that the majority of the vehicle levels are pretty good and add some variety into it. The normal platforming levels are probably some of the most inventive in the entire series. It's just a great game. I would just recommend that you play it, especially if you have tried to play the Insane Trilogy and didn't like it the first time. Just skip the first 2 games and start with the 3rd one. That would be my advice. Then we've got the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and the reason that I've only got 5% on this is because I got this literally just after I had played the PS3 version, and I kind of felt that I was a little bit burnt out on it. And another thing, actually, is that I kind of feel like the Shadow of the Colossus remake on PS4 was a little bit unnecessary. Like, I had just played the PS3 version, and I thought it held up really well. So then I went into the PS4 version, and yeah, it obviously looks a lot better, like the graphics are pretty incredible. But in terms of the gameplay, it was pretty much exactly the same, and it just made me think, like, it's a little bit unnecessary as a remake, isn't it? Like, it's not even like the PS3 remaster looks bad, it looks pretty good, actually. So yeah, I would rather them have remade a game that, like, where they could have actually have made some changes to the gameplay, to actually make it, like, better, as opposed to remaking a game that didn't really need anything doing to its gameplay in the first place. That's where it begins to feel a little bit unnecessary. After loving Super Hot VR, I got the original version of Super Hot, which is just like kind of a more normal first-person shooter that you play with a normal controller, and I just don't think that this works as well. Like, it is still good, but the VR version is just like, I feel like the VR version is what it should have been in the first place, you know? Like, the VR version just works so incredibly well that it makes the original version look bad by comparison, even though the original version is quite good. But it's not like when you're playing this original version, you don't actually feel like you're this badass action hero or something. It kind of just feels like you're playing a first-person shooter, you know? Doesn't quite have the same impact. Then we've got the Spyro Reignited trilogy, platinumed all of them, because of course I did. I'm a big fan of Spyro. There's a Spyro poster in the background of this video, in fact. So yeah, you know I'm gonna have got the platinums on all of them. Red Dead Redemption 2, I finished it, didn't 100% it though, just because there's so much to do in that game. It would have taken hours upon hours to 100% it. But surprisingly, really liked it, which is, just like I say, very surprising, because I don't normally like these AAA open world games. But Red Dead Redemption 2 was just like such a good example of that I got really invested in it, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Whether I would ever go back to it and replay it, I'm not sure. I feel like I would need to leave it a very long time to replay it, because I kind of quite vividly remember it all. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe if it ever gets a PS5 version, that might sway me to like try it out again, but we'll see. Little Nightmares, oh my god, right, so it says there that I've got 36%, right? But I'm pretty sure... Oh, it's because I've not done the DLC. Right, that makes more sense now. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that there's only one trophy that I need to do in this. So yeah, let's have a look here. Out of the main game, yep, so this trophy here, what you need to do to get this is to play through the entire game without dying. But I actually don't like this with Little Nightmares, because I feel like there's some sections where you kind of die and it's not your fault. Like, it'll sometimes feel a little bit like unfair when you like just don't grab something and you end up falling to your death or something. It's a little bit clunky at times, which you don't normally care about because the checkpoint system is really good and like you never really like lose too much progress or anything. But when there's this trophy that's asking you to do the entire game without dying, that's where it becomes an issue, because that's where it becomes annoying, because you can waste like hours and hours of time, because you could in theory get to the end of the game, die, and have to do the entire thing again. Yeah, I did try to do this a couple of times, but I never properly got like that invested in it, just because I think it's a little bit ridiculous. Maybe one day I'll go back to it and try and do it, who knows. Weirdly, I've not ever finished the DLC. I am surprised that I haven't done that, because I really like Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2. So I should definitely do that at some point. I completely forgot that I hadn't played the DLC for this. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that soon. Next up we have Resident Evil. This is the remaster of the GameCube remake. And really good game. Really good game. I've platinumed it, and it's a pretty difficult platinum, to be honest. So this is like Resident Evil 7. There's some trophies here at the bottom where you need to do some kind of like weird stuff. Like you need to finish the game without saving. Finish the game only using your knife. Finish the game in 5 hours. Finish the game in 3 hours. Stuff like that. And I've done it all. Finishing the game in 3 hours is a lot easier than it sounds, because once you've finished it a couple of times and got like a certain rank, you unlock infinite ammo weapons. And once you've got them, you can obviously just blast through the game really easily. So yeah, it is still difficult, but it's probably not as difficult as you think it is when you just initially see the trophy list. So yeah, really good game. And a pretty fun one to platinum as well. The Playroom VR. Right, now, this is actually really underrated. If you have a VR headset for the PlayStation and you haven't played this, I recommend that you check it out, especially if you've got somebody to play it with, because this is basically just a multiplayer game. But yeah, a lot of people probably have just like slept on this just because they don't know what it is. But it's basically the game that came out before Astrobot Rescue Mission, and before Astro's Playroom on PS5, obviously. But this is where that like game style came from, because there's a mini game in this that basically is just the beta version of Astro's Playroom or Astrobot Rescue Mission, and it's really good. But on top of that, you've got all of these other mini games too, which are just amazing. This feels like something that Nintendo would normally make, to be honest. So yeah, highly recommend that you check this out if you haven't, and like I say, you have a VR headset, because it's really good. Trophy-wise though, the only reason that I haven't 100%ed this is because I was playing it with my girlfriend, right? And the way that this works is that both players get all of the trophies, which is awesome, right? But both players don't get the in-game currency that you unlock. The in-game currency just unlocks like these cosmetic things for your like hub area, I guess. But there's some trophies that are tied to like unlocking everything in the game using this in-game currency. But because only one player unlocks this in-game currency, it means that she got the platinum and I didn't, because I didn't have any of the currency. So now I would need to play through the entire game again to unlock all of the coins in order to get these trophies. And to be honest, it has been a long enough time now that we probably would be able to just play through the entire thing again anyway, so maybe we'll do that soon. We have actually been getting into using the VR headset again more recently, just because we're really excited for PSVR 2. So maybe this is something that we should do soon, because I would like to have the platinum on this. Feels like I should already have the platinum on it, to be honest. It's a little bit annoying that I don't. But moving on. Oh, we've got Ratchet Gladiator, that's next. So yeah, this is the only one of the PS2 like era of Ratchet and Clank games that I've not really played. I've only played the beginning of this, and this is more of a spin-off Ratchet Gladiator, or Ratchet Deadlocked as it's called in other regions. It's more actiony, it's not really a platformer at all like the others, and it's basically like a mission by mission thing. Where like you basically need to like kill all of the enemies in an arena, or like you need to like capture all of these different zones on the map and stuff like that. Doesn't really feel like a Ratchet and Clank game. It's much more action focused, I guess, but it is pretty interesting, and I do plan on eventually getting 100% on this. The PS3 remaster of this game in particular though does seem to be a little bit more clunky. Like I remember the cutscenes were glitching quite a lot, and just like graphically it doesn't seem to have as much care put into it as the actual trilogy does. But yeah, I guess that's kind of easy to overlook with it being a spin-off. Tetris Effect is really good, but for some reason I've just hardly rarely played it. Again, now that I'm getting more into using my VR headset again, maybe this is another one that I should go back to and play a little bit more. But yeah, this isn't really one that I would ever go for the platinum on, just because it's Tetris. Like, I don't really feel like I have to get the platinum on a Tetris game, because I know what Tetris is, and I know my skill level with it. And it's probably not good enough to get the platinum, so I'm fine with leaving it there. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, you know I'm gonna get the platinum on this. Luckily, to get the platinum, you don't need to do any of the stupidly hard stuff, because they added a lot of that like really difficult stuff in after the game initially came out. So like I know now you can beat the developer times, which is ridiculously tough. But like I say, because that was introduced after the game's release, there isn't a trophy tied to it. So I think the most difficult trophy here is basically to just like beat Oxide's times in the time trial mode, which if you're like decent at the game, it's not even that difficult. So yeah, this is a pretty easy platinum overall, I would say. Munch's Odyssey HD, I don't plan on 100% in this, even if it is an Oddworld game. I just don't like it very much. I just think it takes away from some of the aspects that made the original two games so good. And to be honest, it was that much of a slog to get through it for the review that I don't really want to go back to it anytime soon. Stranger's Wrath, on the other hand, I'm so close to getting the platinum on this, and I will definitely go back to this at some point. I think the only trophy that I need to get now is something to do with the collectibles. Yeah, destroy the 10 hidden barrels. I don't know why I haven't already done this, to be honest. This is another one of those situations where I'm probably just going to watch a YouTube guide as I go through the game. So yeah, this is a pretty easy platinum for me at this point. I don't remember it being too difficult to get any of these trophies besides that one either. So yeah, overall I would probably say that this is quite an easy platinum. I think you need to finish the game on hard mode, which is actually quite difficult, but it's not so difficult that it's completely unobtainable. The Medieval remake, pretty good. I would probably say that it's better than the original version, maybe, But one of the main reasons that it's better than the original version is because you actually unlock the original PS1 version once you 100% it. So kind of by default, it's better than the original version because the original version is in it. But yeah, pretty easy platinum. This is one of those where you kind of just need to get all of the like collectibles, and you'll just platinum it by default anyway. It's not very long either, so yeah, I would say go for it if you're a platinum hunter, I guess. Death Stranding, the original PS4 version, played through it one time, and again, it's one of those games where I feel like I'm done with it now. I don't really feel any urge to go back and replay it or anything. Probably one of those experiences where it's good for the first playthrough, but I feel like a second playthrough would be a bit boring. So yeah, don't plan on getting 100% on that. The Resident Evil 2 remake. Now, I could platinum this. I'm 100% sure that I could platinum this. I didn't play very much of the Ghost Survivors DLC, which is why I haven't got any trophies on that. But I do remember, actually, the Resident Evil 2 DLC being pretty good. It's basically just, like, these short little, like, stories that you can play through that are quite difficult, and it almost feels a little bit more arcadey, I guess. But pretty good inclusion to the overall game. I'm pretty sure that the only trophies that I need are sort of these like more optional ones, like completing it without using a recovery item, without opening the item box, taking fewer than 14,000 steps. Like, I feel like I could do that quite easily, especially if I play it through one more time to get familiar with it again. I feel like I could do that, and I probably will at some point. Although, having said that, I've just remembered that there's now the PS5 version, which will have a new, like, trophy list. So if I was to play it again, I'd probably play the PS5 version, and that'll mean that I never get the platinum on the PS4 version. So that's a little bit annoying. Kinda wish that it just shared the same trophy list, but there's probably some, like, technical reason that they didn't do that, I guess. Next, we've got Resident Evil Resistance. I probably played that like once. It was just like the online mode that came with Resident Evil 3, I want to say. It wasn't very good at all. Resident Evil keep trying to do this like the online modes, and I just don't feel like they ever work. I kind of feel like they should stop doing that. If they're going to go down the route of doing like an online component, I feel like they should do a co-op component as opposed to like an actual like PvP mode. Because I never feel like that works, but they keep trying to do it for some reason. You know what, Resident Evil 3, I'm really surprised that I've only got 37% on that. Although, having said that, I do think I've actually only played through it one time, so that probably explains it. Resi 3 was pretty good, but nowhere near as good as the Resi 2 remake. I just feel like Resi 3 needed to be a bit longer. It's a shame that Nemesis was quite watered down compared to Mr. X from the Resi 2 remake. Yeah, just overall, kind of just a bit lacking compared to the Resi 2 remake, and I feel like that's the reason that a lot of people don't really talk about this too much anymore. But still a great game, and I do like the dodge mechanic that this introduced. I kind of wish that that was in the Resi 2 remake, to be honest, because it makes combat so much more slick. Doom Eternal, I played through this one time. The online mode wasn't as good as the online mode from Doom 2016, because the online in Doom Eternal is just a bit weird. Like, it's this thing where one person plays as the Doom Slayer, and another two people play as a particular type of demon, and it just isn't as good. Like, the Doom 2016 online was much more like just a 4v4, like, arcadey online shooter, which I much preferred. The Doom Eternal multiplayer is pretty good, but it just didn't, like, have the same impact that the 2016 one had. And, of course, with Eternal being newer, Eternals Online also has the stupid, like, season-based content thing. For all I know, it has some sort of, like, season pass. And like I said earlier, I'm just not into that. It's a shame that they ruined the Doom Eternal Online with that sort of thing, because just really not into it. The Last of Us Part 2. I'm kind of waiting to replay that. I want to go through it on the hardest difficulty. But before I do that and replay it, it will only be the second time that I've played it when I replay it again. But before I do that, I'm kind of just waiting for part 1 to come out, because I plan on like playing them back to back. I actually really liked The Last of Us Part 2. I know a lot of people don't like it because of what it did. But yeah, I quite liked it, to be honest. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Trophy-wise, there's not really a lot to say. I've finished the game, but I didn't get all of the collectibles or anything. Like I say, I didn't even play it on the hardest difficulty. I wanted to, but because my girlfriend was watching me, I thought I had better not play it on the hardest difficulty because I could get like stuck for like an hour or something, and then it would be really boring to watch. But yeah, when I replay it, I'm going for that hardest difficulty. Destroy All Humans, this is the PS4 remake. I could probably really easily get the platinum on this, but I didn't really like it all too much, so I don't really feel like I want to get the platinum on it. I'm not the sort of person, really, that like gets the platinum on, like, just for the sake of it. Like, if I don't really like a game, I'm not gonna get the platinum on it just for the sake of it. I guess with the exception being if it's like really easy to get the platinum and it's just like one tiny thing that I have to do, then I'll probably go out of my way. But besides that, I don't feel any need to go back to this game, to be honest. I'd much rather play the original version. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, like, to be honest, I honestly don't know why I don't have the platinum on this. Weirdly, I thought that this was going to be a game that I went back to all the time, and I haven't really gone back to it all that much, which is weird, which is really weird. I should definitely go back and give this a go, maybe even get the PS5 version. I don't know if the PS5 version has a physical, like, release, though, but either way, I could just get the PS5 upgrade. Kind of annoying how you need to pay for it, though, because I feel like this is the sort of game where that should have been free. Especially because I've got the collector's edition. Like, you can see the skateboard deck like hanging up behind me on above the shelf there. Like, I paid like over £100 for that. I should get the PS5 upgrade for free, damn it. Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. You know what? I'm a big fan of Crash Bandicoot. I didn't like Crash Bandicoot 4. Maybe one day I'll do a review going into why that is. Or maybe even if I replay it, I might end up liking it more the second time around. But my first playthrough, oh my god, I had to force myself to finish it. I didn't like it to that extent that I had to actually force myself to finish it. Which is pretty big coming from me, being a Crash Bandicoot fan. But now isn't the time to get into that. This is supposed to be a video about trophies. Space Invaders Forever. I didn't play this too much. This is like a compilation of some of the newer Space Invaders games. Not the biggest Space Invaders guy, I've got to be honest. But I enjoyed it for what it is. If you're a fan of the series, this is probably pretty good. Super Heart Mind Control Delete is sort of a sequel to the original Super Heart, but it's also kind of just like a standalone DLC, I guess. And it's pretty good. It's just more of Super Heart, I guess. Kind of a shame that they didn't do like this sort of like expansion for Super Heart VR. I would have preferred that by quite a lot. But yeah, I'm hoping that they're working on Super Heart VR 2, and I'm hoping that that's going to come out on PSVR 2 as well. That would be amazing. Little Nightmares 2, incredible game. I can't remember exactly when this came out now. It was either last year or the year before. But yeah, either way, whatever year it came out, probably one of the games of the year. Really, really liked it. What I'll probably do, if I was ever to replay this, I would probably play through Little Nightmares 1 and the DLC for 1, and then go through 2 and just play them back to back. Because it's not like they're very long, and they kind of just feel like part 1 and 2 of the same game in a way. But yeah, really, really liked Little Nightmares 2. I've not 100%ed it because you just need to get all of the collectibles, and some of them are actually quite like difficult as well. I didn't actually get very many of them, actually, and I consider myself pretty good at finding collectibles. So yeah, if you're up for a challenge, this is a good game to find collectibles in. Fall Guys, I've actually played quite a lot of Fall Guys. To be honest, when it went free to play, like this was literally like, what, a month ago, something like that it went free to play, I feel like it kind of just lost some of what made it good, which is really annoying. Because it used to be, when you had to pay for it, you unlocked the in-game currency actually really fast, and that allowed you to just buy like whatever costumes that you wanted. But now it's free to play, you hardly get any currency, and the costumes are all so expensive. So it kind of just feels like you're playing it, but you're not getting anything out of it anymore. And it's kind of ruined it, to be honest. Kind of ruined it. That's the problem with going free to play and having like microtransactions and stuff. It completely ruins the balance of the game, and it just makes it so it's not as enjoyable. Again, that's why I don't like season passes and like in-game currencies and stuff. It's never good having that in your games. Gang Beasts, it's okay. Like, I don't know, I'm not that big of a fan of it, but it's okay for what it is. It would probably be a lot more fun if you were playing it with 4 people. Because when I played this last, it was just me and my girlfriend, and I think you probably lose a lot of that like chaotic gameplay with it only being 2 people. So I don't feel like I can properly judge this one. I feel like this is one where you need 4 people. Kinda needs to be played in like a party atmosphere, I think. LA Noire, we've got this again on the list because this is the PS4 remaster. I played this for a little bit, but I didn't get anywhere near finishing it. This is one kind of in my backlog, I guess. But at the same time, it's kind of not in my backlog because I don't plan on going back to it anytime soon. I've got way too many other things to be playing at the moment, so I'll probably leave this one quite a while before I play it again. Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits. Now this is a weird one, because this is the only PS Vita game on this entire list, because this is the only PS Vita game that I actually own. I basically got a Vita entirely to play Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits, because I was reviewing every single game in the series. So yeah, I technically spent quite a lot of money on this game. So yeah, I should probably actually go back to this at some point and try and get some more of the trophies, because I only actually have 25% of them. Yeah, I feel like there was some of the advanced courses that I'd never actually completed. So yeah, I should definitely go back and get some more of these at some point. But probably before I do that, I'd want to go back to Banana Mania and finish that off. But again, we'll get back to that in a minute. Resident Evil Village. Again, this is one that I can see myself getting the platinum on. The reason that I'm holding off is because there's that big like update and DLC pack that's coming out later this year that allows you to play through the game in third person. And when I replay the game, I'm going to play it like that, just because I feel like that'll give you a really different way of experiencing the game. So yeah, really liked Resident Evil Village. Probably will go for more of the trophies. But yeah, like I say, I'm waiting for that big update. Resident Evil 4, this is obviously the remaster of it, and not the upcoming remake, of course, because that's not out yet, as if I've needed to clarify that. But yeah, I guess if you're watching this in the future, I might need to clarify that. So this is the PS4, like, original kind of version of Resident Evil 4. God, this is where it gets confusing with, like, remasters and remakes, right? Because there's Resident Evil 4, which was originally only on the GameCube, then there was the ports of it to, like, the PS2, and then there was kind of, like, the motion-controlled version that came out on the Wii. So there's already 3 different versions. Then there's the like remasters of it that came out on PS4 and Xbox One, which is what this is. And then there's the remake that's coming out in 2023. So there's like probably more than 5 versions of this game. It's very, very confusing. But yeah, pretty good game. A lot of people would probably say that the upcoming remake is unnecessary. But I'm not one of those people. I actually think the Resident Evil 4 is aged quite a lot. Just little things, really. Like, I feel like the camera, the way that you control the camera is very, very weird in the original version of Resi 4. I would like to be able to sort of like move and shoot at the same time in the way that you can in the like Resi 2 remake, for example. And yeah, just little things like that. Just tiny little tweaks that they could make to Resi 4 to make it more modernised. So yeah, that's why I'm happy that it's being remade. Also, the remake seems to be going for a darker tone, which I'm happy with. And as well, I've just remembered that there's the VR version of Resi 4, so that's a 6th version of Resi 4 for you to get confused about. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. So yeah, I've platinumed this, and I've also platinumed Sackboy: A Big Adventure on PS5. Both of these are pretty good. Both of them are weirdly similar in the way that I would say that despite them being good, they're not really like system sellers. Rift Apart is more of a system seller just because it is actually exclusive to the PS5 for one thing, whereas Sackboy is also on PS4. But Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, the reason that I wouldn't say that it was an outright system seller is kind of just because it's very short, and I don't know what it is about it. It almost feels a little bit shallow when you compare it to the PS2 original Ratchet & Clank games. I feel like more happened in those original games, and there was more sort of variety in gameplay than what you have here as well. But despite me complaining about it, it's really good. It's a pretty easy platinum. Sackboy is actually probably a little bit harder to platinum, because there's one like section of levels that's actually quite hard. The last thing that I did in the game was this bit where you replay all of the like bonus levels, but you play them all in a row, and you have to do them all without dying, and do them fast as well. You're on a time limit. And yeah, that was actually pretty difficult, which is weird considering that it's Sackboy. You'd think it would be easy. But yeah, actually had a couple of challenging levels in there. The Last of Us Remastered. You know what, right, I want to 100% this, and as you can see there, I've 100%ed a lot of it. The actual main game, it says that I've only got 41%, but the only reason that I've only got 41% is because there's a lot of collectibles, like find all of the Firefly pendants and comics and stuff like that, and there's loads of these things, like training manuals, all of the collectibles in general, all of the Shiv doors. So like really all I need to do is go through the game one more time on the easiest difficulty, look up a guide and get all of these things, and I'll have basically gotten all of the trophies for it. But the one thing here, right, that makes this a little bit more complicated is these two trophies here. Because these are online trophies where you need to like sort of finish the little bit of a story mode that's tied to the online experience. But to do that, not only is it kind of luck based, because there's bits where you can outright just fail the game and have to start all the way from the beginning again, but also it's extremely long. You need to play the online portion of the game for quite a few hours to actually finish either of the journeys. And with it being quite old as well, I'm not sure how active the online is for The Last of Us 1. And also I feel like when the new Last of Us online experience thing comes out, I'm assuming that the online player base for the original games online is just going to disappear. So I kind of feel like if I'm going to go for these trophies, I'm on kind of a time limit, because I feel like eventually either the servers are going to get shut down, or there's going to be nobody playing it. So realistically, I'm probably not going to ever get the platinum on this, which is annoying, seeing as I've 100%ed a lot of the other things to do with it. Now, then we move on to Astro's Playroom. Absolutely amazing, right? You know, weirdly, right, out of all of the PS5 games that I've got in my collection over there, I would probably say that this is the best PS5 game. And the reason that that's weird is because this is just the pack-in title, and it's not even very long either. But seriously, Team Azobi, who made this, need to make either an Astro game that's just like a full-on game, or they need to do like just some other game, whether that be a remake of, or just new entry in the Ape Escape series, or just another brand new IP that's in the same style of this. But yeah, either way, whatever they do next, I just hope that it's more of a full game that's got a little bit more like meat on its bones than what this does. Because this game is incredible and I just want more of it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's a very easy platinum, because again, like with these other platformers, it's basically just a matter of getting all of the collectibles and then you've done it. But just the experience as a whole, just amazing. I love the Astro series. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those open world AAA games. I'm just not that into that style of game, and I like 100%ed the first section of the island. But I think because I did all of the side stuff in that first area, I burnt myself out, and then I just didn't feel like carrying on with it. So yeah, maybe what I should have done is I should have just have played through the story doing a minimal amount of side stuff, and then gone back and done all of the side stuff. But yeah, the online for Ghost of Tsushima actually was more fun than the single player game. I really liked playing through the online with a friend, because it's like a co-op experience. That was actually really fun. And because the online, it has more like sort of like fantasy elements. So like I enjoyed that a lot more. I kind of felt that like that was more interesting than what was going on in the main game. So yeah, that's an interesting situation. I actually preferred the online. Weird. God of War, again, this is an example of a game where I need to go back and just get all of the collectibles to platinum it. Will I actually ever do that? Probably not. But I really liked God of War, really looking forward to the sequel. When I originally played this game though, I didn't like it at all, and I actually sold it. I actually had the physical game for this. But yeah, then when I went to give it a second chance, I played it as a part of the PS Plus collection. And yeah, when I replayed it, I actually managed to get into it, so I don't know what was going on when I first played it. I guess I just wasn't in the mood or something. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Now this is one that at some point in the future, I guarantee I am gonna get 100% on this. I think the hardest thing to do in Banana Mania is basically just do all of the missions, which are basically just these side objectives. And there's quite a lot of them, and some of them are actually quite difficult. But I feel like I can do it. I've played enough Super Monkey Ball at this point where I can definitely get the platinum in this. Hot Wheels Unleashed. I've not played too much of this. My girlfriend's played this more than I have. But what little I have played of it is actually pretty good, you know. Like, it's kind of... I wouldn't say that it was a kart racer, because it's not, because you don't have, like, weapons or anything. But it's very similar to the Trackmania series, if you've ever played that. So yeah, it's actually pretty good. So because of your toys as well, you kind of like, all of the racetracks are set in like, basically like bedrooms and stuff like that. So it has that like interesting visual style to it that I really like, where you're just like really small going around like household places. Yeah, it's a good game. Pretty underrated, because I don't really see very many people talking about this one. Oddworld Soulstorm. I'm probably never going to platinum this. I don't like Soulstorm very much, to be honest. I've done like a 50-minute review of this, so if you are interested in my opinion, you can check that out. Probably never going to platinum it though, because you need to do all of the, like, again, extra missions. And some of them are just ridiculous. Like, I don't know, like some of them you kind of need to like play the game in a way that it feels really counterintuitive. Like you need to do it without like, I don't know, like without killing any sligs and stuff like that. But the level is designed in such a way where you're clearly supposed to kill them. And it's just weird like that. And that's the reason that I don't think I'm ever going to platinum this. Beyond that, I kind of don't feel like I want to go back to it anytime soon, because it's quite clunky, and yeah, I didn't really enjoy my time with it all that much. Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. This is quite an easy platinum, because really all you need to do is just go around the map doing all of the like side content, as well as obviously finishing the main game. But it would take quite a while, so it's one of those platinum trophies that are easy, but take a lot of time. And with it being another one of these open world games, I don't know if I'll ever get around to doing it, to be honest, but we'll see. Deathloop is such an annoying one, you know, because I actually thought that I might like this. I've not played a first-person shooter that I've actually liked, maybe since Doom Eternal, and even then I thought that Doom Eternal wasn't as good as Doom 2016. So really, I've probably not played a first-person shooter that I've actually properly liked since Doom 2016, which is crazy. But yeah, Deathloop, I was going into it, and I was thinking it was going to be maybe this like kind of like open world, well not like open world, but it was going to have these big like open areas where you kind of like could do what you want to a degree. I guess kind of similarly to the way that Hitman does stuff. But what I found is that it was much more linear than that, and I was basically just constantly being told what to do, and I didn't like it. I don't know whether later on in the game maybe you do have a lot more freedom, but yeah, at the start of the game I wasn't really enjoying how it was basically saying like, oh, go to point A, do this, and then go to point B. I was just finding it really boring. But like I say, maybe I do need to just play it a little bit more. I've hardly really given it a chance. But I didn't like what I played of it. Resident Evil 5 I've been playing recently with a friend in co-op. Really good co-op game. We've not really been going for 100% in it. And to be honest, I don't even know if we're going to do the DLC. To be honest, we haven't even finished the story yet. We need to do like, we're right at the end. We need to do like the last 2 chapters. And then we've finished the story. But then after that, I think that's when we're going to go on to Resi 6, which I'll be playing for the first time ever. So that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to doing that. Demon Souls. This is the PS5 remake, and unlike with the original game, I have actually platinumed this. And oh my god, this was quite difficult to platinum. So Demon Souls is difficult to platinum in a different way to the Dark Souls games. So where with Dark Souls the difficulty in getting the platinum is basically you have to grind for ages to get a particular item, with Demon Souls there's not too much of a grind really, but it has this thing called world tendency, where like in order to meet certain NPCs, in order to get certain items, you need it to either be pure black or pure white. But the way you go about actually manipulating the world tendency can be really, really finicky. And it's just really convoluted. So convoluted that I'm not going to be able to go through how to do it here. But just know that it's difficult and annoying to platinum. But I persevered and I did it. Now we move on to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is another one of those annoying games where I'm on the verge of getting the platinum. So I'm pretty sure that here there is just one more trophy that I need to do, and I think it's this one, yeah. So you need to acquire all skills. So basically, all I need to do to get the platinum trophy here is play through the game and just keep killing enemies to get experience in order to be able to afford to get all of the skills. But the catch here is that I need a lot of experience to actually get all of the skills. So it's going to take hours and hours of just grinding for XP. And I just don't feel like I've got the time to do that at the moment. But no doubt I am going to do this. Because if I do platinum Sekiro, that'll mean that I've platinumed every Souls game in some form, apart from Elden Ring, which no doubt we're going to get to in a minute. The Forgotten City. Oh, this is one of the big ones that's in my backlog at the moment. Like, I got this after watching Jacob Geller's video about, like, sunken cities, which is really good, by the way, and I recommend you check that out. I recommend you check out Jacob Geller if you've never heard of his channel anyway, because he just makes amazing videos. But yeah, The Forgotten City, it's basically, it's a difficult game to describe, because it's basically this first-person game where you explore this Greek city because you get sent back in time by going into this, like, magical cave. But there's this rule in this city where if you do anything wrong, everybody is gonna die, right? But you have to sort of, like, discover why this rule exists, but also what the actual meaning of doing something wrong is. Like, how far can you stretch that? And obviously if you stretch it too far, everybody dies. So yeah, there's quite a lot at stake, and you have to like weigh up whether it's worth risking certain things. So yeah, really interesting game, but I've not really played it very much. As you can see, I've actually got 0% of the trophies. So yeah, this is a high priority game in my backlog at the moment. Grand Theft Auto 5, this is just the PS5 version, not a lot to say with that. The only trophies that I've got are to do with the online portion, which went free to play. I've not actually got the single player PS5 version because you need to pay for that. But maybe one day I'll get the PS5 version, I'm not sure. Elden Ring. Again, this is a high priority one in my backlog at the moment, and it's really weird that I've not already finished this, considering that I'm a big fan of the Souls series. But the reason that I've not done this is because I want this to be the first Souls game that I go through in co-op for my first playthrough. And I'm basically just waiting for my girlfriend to get it on PS4 so that we can go through it in co-op together. So yeah, that's basically the reason that I've not played much of this yet. Team Sonic Racing, I basically just played that for a little bit because it was free on PlayStation Plus. It's okay, but it's nowhere near as good as Sonic Racing Transformed. And you know what, I would have rather them have just have remastered that than done this new game. Because this new game is just a bit of a letdown. Like, the tracks are all a little bit boring. You can only play as Sonic characters and not just Sega characters in general, which just feels like a massive downgrade. You don't even transform into a boat or a plane in this. So really, Team Sonic Racing kind of feels like it should have come out before Sonic Racing Transformed, and yet it came out way after. Weird situation. Alien Isolation is one that I did start playing this with the intention of finishing it, but to be honest, I've kind of gone away from it recently, which is annoying because I was really enjoying it, so I definitely want to go back to this at some point. Dark Souls Remastered, I was playing through this with my girlfriend, and we were really enjoying it, but just like with Alien Isolation, we kind of just fell off of it, we kind of just got out of the habit of playing it. And it's exactly the same with Grand Theft Auto 3 as well. Like, I was playing this and enjoying it, and I just stopped for some reason. I think around this time where I was playing all of these games, I was kind of game hopping quite a lot, and I don't like doing that, because when you start doing that, it means that you're never actually going to finish any of the games that you're playing, because you don't ever actually get fully invested in any one of them. So yeah, I really do need to stop doing that. Dead Space, I started playing this, and I was intending on maybe doing a review of it, but I never actually got around to actually like fully committing to that. I don't know why. I was literally there recording all of the footage for it and everything, but I just kind of dropped the idea of reviewing it for some reason. Again, I'm not entirely sure why, because I think that would be a good review. I guess let me know if you're interested in my thoughts on Dead Space. Fall Guys. Now, what's weird, I didn't know that this had 2 entries, because we had Fall Guys earlier as well, didn't we? So I guess this has 2 entries because one is the free-to-play version and one is the original, like, PS4 version. But that's annoying, because that means that you're never going to be able to platinum the other version, because you can't access it anymore. Again, this is why I think you should be able to delete PlayStation trophies in general. I would delete so many of my trophies if you could do that. Seriously needs to be a feature. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, as I mentioned before, I was replaying this recently because the PS5 version came out. Really, really good. I could platinum this if I really wanted to, but I would probably rather platinum the remake of Resi 2 over this, just because I think the remake of Resi 2 is probably better overall. In fact, I would probably go as far as to say that the remake of Resi 2 is probably one of the best Resident Evil games overall. It Takes Two is a game that me and my girlfriend have been playing over the course of probably about like 2 years now, or whenever it first came out, and we still haven't finished it. You know what, right? It Takes Two is such a long game. I thought with it being like one of these co-op games that it would have taken like, what, like, I don't know, like 4 hours? But I swear to God, we've been playing this game for about, like, what, like 6 or 7 hours now, and we still haven't done. It is a long game. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I do feel like it's on the verge of becoming a little bit too long for my tastes now. But yeah, it's really good. If you are into like co-op games, especially couch co-op games, definitely check this out. It's not only a co-op platformer, but it also blends like loads of different genres into the experience as well. Such a creative game, and it's very surprising that this is published by EA. EA normally don't do anything like this, so that's kind of refreshing to see. Red Dead Redemption 1, I was playing this kind of recently, but in the back of my mind I have this thing where I'm playing the PS3 version obviously, and in the back of my mind I'm kind of thinking like I know that the Xbox 360 version is better than this, because you can play the Xbox 360 version on the Series X and it upscales it to 4K and it makes the frame rate way better and stuff. So yeah, I kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm just like put off of playing the PS3 version, knowing that there's a much better version of it that I could be playing instead. So yeah, I'll probably not play this until I end up getting a Series X at some point. Overcooked All You Can Eat, another amazing co-op game. I'm sure anybody that's interested in co-op games has already played this, but it's really, really good. Reasonably easy to get the platinum on as well, if you have somebody who's playing it with you who's also quite good at the game. The only reason that I've not platinumed it is just because we've already played through Overcooked 1 and 2 with the original versions, and whenever we go back to them we tend to play the Switch version as opposed to the PS5 version. If it wasn't for that, we probably would have the platinum by now. Weirdly, there's a lot of co-op games in this section, because there's another one here called Operation Tango, which again is incredible. Another really, really high tier co-op game. So this, I should probably explain what this one is, because this is a more obscure one. So basically, it's 2 players. You're supposed to play it online, because it doesn't really work if you can see each other's screens. So one of you plays as a hacker, and one of you plays as a field agent. And so like the field agent will need to like get intel for the hacker to use, and the hacker will need to help the field agent by unlocking doors and stuff like that. But the situations that you get yourself into obviously get progressively more complicated, and you need to do a lot of puzzle solving together. And yeah, it's just amazing. I've got the platinum on it. There's just some DLC that I need to do now, and I'm telling you now, we are going to do this. Earning all the gold medals in all of the challenges. Very difficult, but we're up to it. We've already got the gold medals in like half of the challenges, so I know that I'm good enough to do this. The Final Fantasy VII Remake, you see, this is the thing with this, right? I made a video talking about my game pickups, like very recently. It was probably like the last video that I did. And I was saying in that video that I didn't really, I wasn't gelling too much with this. But when I actually recorded the gameplay that I used in that video, I actually liked that section of the game that I was playing quite a lot. The section where you're on the motorbike, and then you go into the facility where you're needing to cause a ruckus to cause a distraction while another character does something else. I really liked that section. So a part of me wants to give this more of a chance and play it more, but another part of me is thinking well, there's probably other games that I would rather be playing at the moment. So yeah, this is kind of a game where I definitely am going to go back to it at some point, but I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be. And then right at the top, you can't see it properly because it's covered by my camera, but it's the Klonoa, the Fantasy Reverie series. Recently streamed this, or at least I streamed the remake of the first game, and I'm yet to play the second game. But the remake of the first game, really, really good. I had never played the original version on the PS1, so I was going into this remake completely fresh, and I really liked it. It's a very short game, but the mechanics are really interesting, and it gets to be reasonably difficult towards the end, which is nice. And yeah, just creative level designs. And I can't wait to play the remake of the second Klonoa game, which I'm probably going to stream at some point, but I don't know exactly when that will be. Really easy game to platinum as well, by the way. I have already got 45%, and I didn't even really need to try, and I've already pretty much 100%ed the first game. So yeah, again, if you're looking for an easy platinum, this is probably a game for you. But yeah, with that, we have talked about every single one of the games that I've got trophies for. This video has turned out to be significantly longer than what I thought. Probably because I kind of gave you a mini review of every single one of the games rather than just talking about them in terms of the trophies. But either way, I hope you've enjoyed the video regardless and enjoyed my weird rambling about all of these games. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to see more stuff like this coming soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!